Many students ask me, why do I need to read in English? They say, I go to class, do homework, and watch English movies. Why read books? But reading is the best way to get better at English. Let me explain. First, reading is very important. A long time ago, only a few people went to university. Now more people go to university. All jobs need more reading and writing. This is true for everyone, whether you work in an office or as a mechanic. Second, reading helps you speak, write, and learn grammar and vocabulary. It won't help your listening much, but a better vocabulary helps you understand more when you listen. In school, you probably read boring textbooks or books with exercises. But I'm not talking about that. I mean reading for fun, books you enjoy. In 1965, an experiment was done in schools in America with boys who had problems with the law. They gave them fun books, like James Bond stories. The boys read a lot. After 2 years, they took a test. The boys who read books did better in reading and writing. They also liked school more. The boys who didn't read books did not do well. There was another experiment in Fiji. They tested 3 ways of learning English. The first was regular classes. The second was reading quietly. The third was reading aloud with a teacher. The students who read books did the best. In Singapore, students who read books in silence did best in grammar tests. This shows that reading is better than regular grammar classes. When we learn English in class, we try to remember grammar rules and vocabulary. But when we read, we learn them naturally. You may think, reading in English is too hard. I need a dictionary all the time. I understand. That's why I wrote this book. The stories here are easy and fun. The first stories are short and simple. As you read more, the stories get longer and a bit harder. When you finish, you will feel proud. I also made a podcast called Learn English with Listening. Some stories in this book are from my podcast. The stories here are fairy tales. Some are popular and some are not. One of the stories is written by me. You might think, fairy tales are for children. I want to learn useful words for business or science. But fairy tales help you learn useful words too. One study found that 85% of the words in 22 novels are important for studying at university. When I wanted to learn Spanish, I read a lot of books. I read 20 books, or about 1 million words. I started with easy books like this one. Then I read books I already knew in English, like Harry Potter. Finally, I read books by Latin American writers. After 1 year, I could speak and understand Spanish much better, and I didn't spend much time in classes. You might think, this is hard to believe, but reading really works. You just have to make sure the books are easy and fun. If a book is too hard or boring, find another one. Stephen Krashen, a language expert, says, read things that are fun. Only read books that are easy for you. You can read comics, detective stories, or anything you enjoy. Don't worry about reading translations. If you read easy books, you will understand the meaning of new words without needing a dictionary. What does easy mean? You should understand about 98% of the words. For example, here is a hard text. Jerry flurged out of bed and opened the curtains. He bimped to himself as he made breakfast. It is hard to understand because many words are made up. Here's the same text, but easier. Jerry jumped out of bed and opened the curtains. He sang to himself as he made breakfast. This is easier because most words are real. That's why reading for fun is so good. You don't have to understand everything, just enough to follow the story. If this book is too hard, find something easier. If it's boring, find something more fun. There are no exercises in this book. I want you to enjoy reading. If you finish this book, try the next level. You will know the stories better, and it will be easier to understand. I hope you enjoy reading and keep learning English. Chapter 2. Tom was a young man. He lived in a small town. He worked at a restaurant. Every morning he would wake up early and go to work. He liked his job, but he often felt tired. He had a lot of things to do. Sometimes he thought about finding another job, but he never did. One day, Tom met a new friend. Her name was Sarah. She was from another city. She came to the town for a few days. Sarah was very friendly. She smiled a lot and talked to everyone. Tom liked her right away. Tom and Sarah started talking. They became good friends. They spent time together every day. They went to the park. They ate lunch together. They talked about many things. Tom told Sarah about his job and how tired he was. Sarah listened carefully. She asked him, "Why don't you try something new?" Tom thought about her question. "I don't know," he said. "I like my job, but I think I want more. I want to do something different." Sarah smiled and said, "Maybe you can start a new hobby, something that makes you happy." Tom didn't know what to say. He had never thought about hobbies before. He always worked and didn't have time for anything else. But now he started thinking. Maybe Sarah was right. Maybe he needed a hobby. The next day, Tom went to a park. He walked around and looked at the trees and flowers. He sat on a bench and watched the people around him. Some people were running. Some people were walking dogs. Some people were reading books. Tom looked at them and thought, "I wish I could do something fun too." Tom thought for a moment. What could he do? He didn't know how to run fast. He didn't have a dog. He didn't like reading books. But then he remembered something. He liked painting. He liked drawing pictures when he was a child. He hadn't done it in years. Tom went home that day and looked for his old painting supplies. He found some old brushes and colors. He found a few empty papers. He was excited. He set up a small place in his room to paint. At first, Tom didn't know what to paint. He looked around his room. He saw his old books, his clothes, and a chair. But nothing seemed interesting to paint. Then he looked out the window. He saw a beautiful tree with many leaves. The sun was shining on the tree. The sky was blue. Tom decided to paint the tree. He started painting slowly. At first, it was difficult. The colors didn't look right. The tree didn't look like the real tree outside. But Tom didn't stop. He kept painting. He tried again and again. Slowly, the tree started to look better. The colors were bright, and the tree had more shape. After a while, Tom smiled. He was happy with his painting. Tom painted every day after that. He painted different things: flowers, animals, the sky, and more trees. He felt better and better each day. Painting made him happy. It made him forget about the tiredness from work. He could relax and enjoy his time. A week later, Tom showed his paintings to Sarah. She liked them a lot. "You are very good at painting, Tom," she said. "You should show your work to other people." Tom felt shy. He didn't know if his paintings were good enough for other people to see. But Sarah encouraged him. "Just try," she said. "You never know until you try." Tom thought about it for a while. He finally decided to show his paintings to people. He went to a small art gallery in the town. He talked to the owner of the gallery and asked if he could show his paintings there. The owner looked at Tom's paintings and smiled. "These are good," he said. "We can display them for a few days." Tom felt excited and nervous. He didn't know what people would think of his paintings, but when the exhibition started, many people came to see his work. They liked his paintings. Some people even bought them. Tom was very happy. He felt proud of himself. He was glad that he listened to Sarah. She helped him find something new to do. Now, he had a hobby that made him happy. He felt less tired and more excited about life. Tom's life was different now. He still worked at the restaurant, but painting became a part of his life. He had more energy and felt more creative. He was glad he tried something new. He was glad he found his love for painting again. And he was thankful for Sarah's advice. Tom smiled every time he painted. He knew that trying new things could make life better. He promised himself that he would always keep painting and never forget to try new things in life. Chapter 3. One morning, Tom woke up early. The sun was shining brightly. He felt happy because today was special. He was going to meet his old friend, Mike. Mike had been Tom's best friend when they were young. They had played together, gone to school together, and shared many good times. But after school, they lost touch. Mike moved to another city, and Tom stayed in the town. They hadn't seen each other for many years. Tom was excited to see Mike again. He thought about all the fun they had when they were young. He smiled as he remembered the good old days. He looked at the clock and saw that it was almost time to meet Mike. Tom quickly got dressed and left his house. He walked to the cafe where they agreed to meet. It was a small cafe in the center of the town. Tom had been there many times before. When he entered the cafe, he looked around, but he didn't see Mike. He waited for a few minutes and then looked at the door. Suddenly, he saw someone walking in. It was Mike. He looked the same as before, but a little older. Mike had a big smile on his face. He saw Tom and walked quickly toward him. "Tom, it's so good to see you," Mike said. He gave Tom a big hug. Tom was happy to see Mike, too. They sat down at a table and started talking. They talked about their childhood, their families, and the things they had done over the years. Mike told Tom that he had moved to another city to work, but he had always missed the small town. He was happy to visit again. As they talked, Tom remembered how much fun they used to have together. They played soccer in the park, went to the beach, and even built a tree house. Tom said, "I remember our tree house. We spent so much time there." Mike laughed. "Yes, that was the best place. We used to pretend we were pirates. We had so many adventures." They both laughed, remembering the good times. But then the conversation turned serious. Mike asked Tom, So, what are you doing now? Are you still working at the restaurant? Tom nodded. Yes, I am. I work there every day, but I've also started painting. It's something I never thought about before, but now it makes me happy. Mike looked surprised. Wow, I didn't know that. I'm glad you found something you enjoy. I always thought you were good at art when we were kids. Tom smiled. I guess I just forgot about it for a while. But now, I paint almost every day. It feels good to do something creative. Mike was happy for Tom. That's awesome. I always knew you had talent. I remember how you drew those cool pictures in school. Tom laughed. Yeah, I did like drawing, but I didn't think I could do it as an adult. But now, it's a big part of my life. Mike then told Tom about his job. He worked in a big company in the city. He was a manager, but he didn't enjoy his work. He said, I sit at a desk all day. I don't like it. It's boring. I feel like I'm stuck in a routine. Tom listened carefully. He could see that Mike wasn't happy. He remembered how Mike used to be full of energy and excitement when they were younger. Maybe you need to find something you enjoy too, Tom said. Mike shook his head. I don't know what I would do. I have a good job, but I don't feel happy. I feel like I'm just working for money. I don't feel alive anymore. Tom thought for a moment. He understood how Mike felt. He had felt the same way before he started painting. He said, maybe you should try something new. You could start a hobby or even go back to something you used to enjoy. It's never too late. Mike looked at Tom and smiled. Maybe you're right. I used to love playing music. I played the guitar when we were kids, but I haven't touched it in years. Tom smiled. Then maybe you should start again. It doesn't matter if you're busy, it's important to do something that makes you happy. Mike thought about it. You know, I think I will. I miss playing the guitar. I used to love it. I'll try to play again when I get home. They talked for a while longer. They talked about their families, their dreams, and the things they wanted to do. After a while, Mike said, Thanks for the advice, Tom. You've really helped me today. I'm going to try playing the guitar again. I think it will make me happy. Tom smiled. I'm glad I could help. You should always try new things. Life is too short to be stuck in something you don't enjoy. They finished their coffee and said goodbye. Tom felt happy to have seen Mike again. It was nice to catch up with an old friend. As he walked back home, he thought about what they had talked about. He was glad that Mike had decided to try playing the guitar again. It reminded him that it's never too late to do something new. Tom smiled to himself. He was glad he had followed his own advice. Trying something new had changed his life. Maybe it could change Mike's life too. Chapter 4. The next day, Tom woke up early again. He had a good sleep and felt ready for a new day. He thought about the conversation he had with Mike. It made him think more about how important it is to try new things in life. Tom was happy that Mike decided to start playing the guitar again. He hoped it would help Mike feel better. Tom made his breakfast and sat at the table, eating and thinking. He remembered how his life had changed after he started painting. It was not easy at first, but now he couldn't imagine his life without it. He smiled as he thought about his paintings hanging on the walls of the gallery. He was proud of what he had done. After breakfast, Tom went to the park. It was a nice day and he wanted to take a walk. He liked walking around the park because it helped him clear his mind. As he walked, he saw children playing and people walking their dogs. The sun was shining and the sky was blue. It was a peaceful morning. As Tom walked, he thought about his work at the restaurant. He still worked there every day, but he didn't feel as tired anymore. Painting had made him feel more relaxed. He was happy he had found something new to do. He wondered if other people in the town also had hobbies they enjoyed. He realized that everyone had something that made them happy. He wanted to learn more about the people in his town and what they liked to do in their free time. When Tom reached the park bench, he sat down to rest. He looked around and saw an old woman sitting on another bench. She was reading a book. Tom smiled and waved at her. She smiled back and said hello. They started talking. Her name was Mrs. Green, and she lived in the house next to the park. She came to the park every morning to read her books. Tom asked, "What kind of books do you like to read?" Mrs. Green smiled. "I like to read all kinds of books, but my favorite are stories about travel. I love reading about places I've never been. It makes me feel like I'm traveling too." Tom thought that sounded interesting. "Do you travel a lot?" he asked. Mrs. Green shook her head. "Not anymore. I used to travel when I was younger, but now I can't travel as much. Reading books helps me feel like I'm going on adventures even if I stay here." Tom thought that was a great idea. He liked traveling too, but he didn't have much time to go far. Maybe he could read more books about travel, like Mrs. Green did. It might help him feel like he was traveling, even if he stayed at home. They talked for a while longer. Mrs. Green told Tom more about the books she liked to read. Tom listened carefully, feeling inspired by her love for reading. He decided to try reading more books too, especially ones about travel. He thought it would be a good way to learn about different places and cultures. When it was time for Tom to leave, he said goodbye to Mrs. Green and promised to visit her again. As he walked home, he felt happy. He had met someone new and learned something interesting. He decided to start reading more books about places around the world. He was excited about this new idea. That afternoon, Tom went to the library. He had not been there in a long time. When he entered, he saw many people reading and studying. The library was quiet and peaceful. Tom walked around, looking at the books on the shelves. He found a section about travel and picked out a book. The book was about a man who traveled all over the world. Tom was excited to read it. When Tom got home, he started reading the book. It was easy to read and very interesting. The man in the book had visited many countries, and Tom enjoyed reading about his adventures. He learned about different cultures, foods, and traditions. The more he read, the more he wanted to travel. He thought, "One day, I want to visit these places too." That night, Tom felt proud of himself. He had found a new hobby, reading books about travel. He was excited about all the things he would learn. He also thought about the next step. Maybe one day he would be able to travel to some of the places he read about, but for now, reading was enough. It made him feel like he was going on an adventure, even without leaving home. As Tom finished the book, he thought about how important it is to keep trying new things. He had tried painting, and now he was trying reading. Both things made him happy. He was glad he had decided to step out of his comfort zone and try something new. It reminded him of the advice he gave Mike. Life is full of new experiences, and you just have to be open to them. Tom smiled and closed the book. He was excited for tomorrow. He was going to visit the library again and find another book about travel. He had found something new to enjoy, and he couldn't wait to see where his new hobby would take him next. Chapter 5. The next day, Tom woke up feeling happy. He had a busy day ahead, but he didn't mind. He had been reading his travel book every day, and it was making him feel more excited. He wanted to learn more about the world. He wanted to visit new places. Tom made his breakfast, grabbed his book, and sat down at the table. As he ate, he thought about where he would go first if he could travel. He finished his breakfast and decided to go to the park. The weather was beautiful, and it was a good day for a walk. As he walked, he thought about the places he had read about in the book. There were so many countries and cities. He wondered what it would be like to see them for real. He knew it would take time, but he didn't mind. Just reading about the places made him happy. When Tom reached the park, he saw Mrs. Green sitting on her usual bench. She was reading another book. Tom smiled and walked over to say hello. "Good morning, Mrs. Green," Tom said. She looked up from her book and smiled. "Hello, Tom. How are you today?" she asked. "I'm great," Tom said. "I've been reading more books about travel, just like you said. It's amazing how much you can learn without leaving home." Mrs. Green nodded. "Yes, reading can take you anywhere. I've learned so much from books. I've never been to some of the places I read about, but I feel like I've been there." Tom sat down on the bench next to Mrs. Green. "That's how I feel too. I feel like I've been to all these countries, even though I've only read about them." They sat quietly for a moment, enjoying the peace of the park. Then, Tom had an idea. "Mrs. Green, do you ever think about visiting some of the places you read about?" he asked. Mrs. Green smiled and shook her head. "When I was younger, I did a lot of traveling, but now I'm happy reading about it. I've had my adventures, but I think you should visit the places you read about. You're young, and you have time to travel." Tom thought about what she said. He wanted to travel, but he wasn't sure where to start. He didn't have a lot of money, and he wasn't sure how to plan a trip. But Mrs. Green's words made him think. Maybe he could start small. He could save money and take a short trip first. "I think I will try to travel someday," Tom said. "Maybe I can start by visiting a nearby city. I don't need to go far to have an adventure." Mrs. Green smiled again. "That sounds like a great idea, Tom. Sometimes the best adventures are the ones close to home." Tom agreed. He stood up and thanked Mrs. Green for the conversation. He felt inspired to start planning his trip. As he walked home, he thought about the next step. He needed to find out more about how to travel. He could read more books, of course, but he also needed to learn practical things, like how to save money and where to stay. That afternoon, Tom spent some time on the internet. He looked up information about traveling to nearby cities. He found websites with tips on how to save money while traveling. He also found some budget-friendly hotels and hostels in the cities he wanted to visit. He made a list of places he could go and started to plan his trip. It wasn't going to be a big trip, but it was a start. Tom also thought about how he could save money for the trip. He decided to put some of the money he made from painting into a savings account. He could save a little bit each month. It would take time, but he was excited about the idea. The more he thought about it, the more he wanted to make it happen. The next few days were busy for Tom. He worked at the restaurant, painted, and read more books. But he always thought about his trip. He was excited to see new places and learn more about the world. He told Mike about his plan to visit a nearby city, and Mike was happy for him. "That's great, Tom. You're really doing it. I'm proud of you," Mike said. Tom smiled. "Thanks, Mike. I'm not sure when I'll go, but I'm saving up for it. I know it will take time, but I'm looking forward to it." Tom continued to save money and plan his trip. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was determined. He knew that one day he would visit the places he had read about in his books. For now, he was content knowing that he was making progress toward his dream. As time passed, Tom realized how much he had changed. He used to feel tired and stuck in his routine, but now he felt more alive. He had found new hobbies, made new friends, and set new goals. He had learned that trying new things could lead to exciting changes in life. One evening, after a long day of work and painting, Tom sat down with his travel book. He was reading about a city he had never heard of before. The more he read, the more excited he became. He knew that one day he would visit this place, just like he had visited many other cities in his imagination. He smiled and thought, "I can't wait to see where life will take me next." Chapter 6. Tom woke up feeling excited. Today was the day he would start something new. He had been saving money for a while, and now he was ready to take his first small trip. He wasn't going far, but he was going to visit a nearby city for the weekend. He had planned everything carefully. He had a small budget, so he needed to make sure he didn't spend too much. But he was looking forward to the adventure. Tom made breakfast quickly and packed a small bag. He put his clothes, toiletries, and the book he was reading into the bag. He also made sure to bring some money and his phone. After checking everything, he was ready to go. He smiled to himself. "This is it," he thought. "I'm going on my first trip." The bus station was not far from his house. It was just a short walk. When he arrived, he saw that the station was busy. There were people everywhere, waiting for their buses. Tom looked at the schedule and saw that his bus was leaving in 30 minutes. He had time to grab a coffee and relax for a little while. He went to the cafe in the corner and ordered a small coffee. As he sat down with his coffee, Tom thought about how nervous he felt. He had never traveled alone before. He had always been with friends or family when he traveled. But this time, it was just him. He knew he could handle it. but it was still a little scary. After finishing his coffee, Tom checked the time. It was almost time for his bus. He walked to the bus platform and looked for his bus. It wasn't hard to find. The bus was big and had a sign with the name of the city he was going to. Tom felt a little nervous, but he was also excited. He had been waiting for this day for a long time. The bus ride was smooth, and Tom spent most of the time looking out the window. The city he was visiting was about 2 hours away, so he had a lot of time to think. He thought about how his life had changed in the past few months. He had found new hobbies, made new friends, and now he was traveling. Tom realized that he had been too afraid to try new things in the past, but now he was doing it. He smiled to himself. He was proud of how far he had come. When the bus finally arrived at the city, Tom felt excited. He stepped off the bus and looked around. The city was bigger than his town, but it wasn't too crowded. He liked the feeling of the city. It was different, but it was nice. He had booked a small hotel for the weekend, so he decided to head there first. He found a map at the bus station and figured out how to get to the hotel. As he walked through the city, he noticed many things. The streets were busy, and there were many people walking around. The buildings were tall, and the shops were full of interesting things. Tom loved how different everything was from his town. He had never seen so many people in one place before. He took out his phone and took some pictures. He wanted to remember this moment. When he arrived at the hotel, the staff were very friendly. They checked him in quickly, and Tom went up to his room. The room was small but clean and comfortable. He sat on the bed and took a deep breath. He was finally here. He had made it. After a few minutes, Tom decided to go out and explore the city. He didn't have a plan, but he wanted to see what he could find. He walked around the area near his hotel and saw a beautiful park. He went inside and sat on a bench. It was a peaceful place with trees and flowers everywhere. Tom felt calm and happy. As he sat there, he thought about how much he was enjoying the trip. He was proud of himself for being brave enough to travel alone. He didn't know what the weekend would bring, but he was excited to see more of the city. He knew that he would have many more adventures in the future. That evening, Tom went to a small restaurant for dinner. The food was delicious, and the waiter was kind. He sat by the window and looked out at the busy street. He felt like he was part of the city, even though he was just visiting. It was a new experience, and Tom was loving every moment of it. After dinner, Tom walked around the city some more. He went to a small shop and bought a souvenir to remember his trip. It was a little keychain with a picture of the city on it. He smiled as he looked at it. It was a small thing, but it reminded him of how far he had come. When he got back to the hotel, Tom felt tired but happy. He had seen so much in just one day. He thought about how he had once been afraid to try new things, but now he was traveling and exploring new places. He was proud of himself. Before going to bed, Tom took out his book and read for a little while. The book was about a man who traveled the world, and Tom was enjoying it more than ever. He felt inspired by the man's adventures. He thought to himself, "One day, I will visit all the places in this book." For now, he was content. He had taken the first step, and that was enough.